And welcome to the Peterson Event Center for the Jeff Capel Show. 2-0 over the last couple. And, Jeff, congratulations on the 2 wins.
I appreciate that. It feels good to be able to win 2 conference games in a row. That's something that has eluded us really for the past couple of years since I've been here. And to be able to put them back-to-back, we made them both interesting. But still, nonetheless, we were able to come out with 2 wins. So really proud of our guys for that.
It had been 2017, and it was Boston College and then Syracuse, which is kind of ironic because Syracuse comes up on Saturday. I want to go back. I loved your intro, by the way, to your news conference last night where you kind of, that's just how we drew it up. Chuckled a little bit. Obviously, I mean, you got to find a way, and I think obviously the big difference, you found a way at the end, even when things weren't going well, someone to make a shot and pull it out.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't pretty. You know, we have to continue to do a better job of handling those situations, for being better in those situations. You know, you can look at it in a couple of ways to me, you know, in these games, whether it's Louisville, whether it's Wake Forest, North Carolina, and then last night against BC, you can look at it where we had leads. So we did some really good stuff to be able to have those leads. Where we have to get better is that we have to understand how to play with those leads. We have to understand that we can't relax. We can't have a letdown because these teams we're playing are good. Some of them are really good, and they can make you pay. What I do like about last night is the fact that they tied it up. We didn't call a timeout, and Ryan Murphy stepped up and made a big-time shot for us. And we were able to get the win. And I think anytime you can learn from winning is a huge thing.
I want to bring up a couple of the individual efforts a little later, but before we go to break and bring our special guest on, sweeping North Carolina. I mean, I heard somebody say, I don't care if Carolina has 3 players. When you sweep North Carolina, that's a big deal.
You know, it's a huge deal. And certainly for where we are as a program, I think it makes it even sweeter. You know, we're trying to rebuild. And I hope everyone appreciates that not many people can say that they swept North Carolina. These kids can. But 20 years from now, when these kids are older and they have their families, you know, they can talk about that. You know, one of the historic programs, one of the historic coaches, that they were able to beat them twice and talk about how they were able to do it because they fought. We worked hard. We were together. You know, we did all of these things. And I know I don't take it for granted, and I certainly hope people that are associated, affiliated with, or fans of our program don't take it for granted and don't come up with the thing of, well, they're down this year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You still have to show up. You have to beat them, and we did.
Over the last couple of weeks, we've had 2 of the toughest forwards in Pitt history.
Yep.
Now we're going to be joined by one of the toughest guards in Pitt history. We'll hear from him next. It's the Jeff Capel Show here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Jeff, he holds the school record with 16 assists in a game. He did that against DePaul. 3 times had 13 assists in a game. 1 time against Cincinnati, 13 assists, no turnovers. Twice had 12 assists in a game. Holds the school record for 270 in a season. He's 5'10" from Brooklyn, the 25th all-time leading scorer in Pitt history. Lamar Fields joins us on the phone. Lamar, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be joining y'all.
I know you played some overseas for Panther fans. Give us an idea of what you've been up to.
I played overseas, but now currently I work for the DOE system. I'm in the school system, working with junior high school ages from 6th grade to 8th, and I'm coach of 6th grade.
So how is that transition to coaching going?
It's been good. I mean, I think it's a natural thing for me to coach because I played the game for so long, and I think I have a pretty good understanding of how the game should be played. So it's rejuvenating. It's fun. It's a good feeling. Helping kids in my community learn how to play the game the right way.
Well, obviously, as a great point guard, and you were a great point guard, you know, the transition should be natural for you because while you were here, as a fan watching from afar, but now that I've been here talking to guys that played with you, they talked about you know, how you were a coach on the floor. I've heard a lot of stories about you, man. Really good, really funny. You're the type of guy that I would have wanted to play with, and the type of guy we need in our program right now. So we appreciate you being on. We appreciate, you know, your love for this program, what you've done for it, what you continue to do for it, and the support that you continue to give to us, and especially to me and our staff, as we're new here trying to rebuild it. You know, one of the questions I had, you know, it's kind of a twofold question. What made you choose Pitt? That's the first part of it. And then during your time here as a player, like, what was, you know, your mission?
First off, what's up, Coach? Thank you for that compliment. Same way you watch me, I was watching y'all at Oklahoma when you had Blake Griffin, so much respect and appreciation for you as well. It's a pleasure to be on. The first thing, to answer your question, what made me choose Pitt, what it came down to was Pittsburgh and St. John's. I did want to stay home. We had a lot of guys from New York on the roster at Pittsburgh, and guys I knew, such as Ronald Ramon. Chris Tapp was there. Obviously, he went to the draft, and I didn't get to play with him, but he was my former high school teammate who I watched play there for 2 years. So I'm getting to know the system already. He's loving it. So I just had a great time as a variant playing with him. I'm just thinking, all right, I'm going to play with Chris again at Pittsburgh. Once again, you get a Ronald Ramon from the same league. You get Keith Benjamin from New York, who I played against in ISA. You got Terrell Biggs, same class as me. Gallagher was really solid for so many years. And it's like, all right, we're going to be on teams finally together. I think this could work. So that was my thought process on why I came to Pitt. It was familiarity. A lot of guys from New York. The guy that recruited me, Barry Rawson, a.k.a. Slice. He went to Zavarian. So it's a great Zavarian connection, obviously, while I went there. And then my mission when I got there, obviously I always consider myself a winner. Winning always came first to me. So whatever I had to do, I would definitely do for my team so we could win. And I noticed with a knock on them about, you know, not getting past the Sweet 16, you know, a great regular season team, one where they really going to take that next step and, you know, make a Final Four, win a national championship. So that drove me as well coming to Pittsburgh. Knowing, all right, this is already a good team, great program. It's already established some things. Coach Dixon and them had it going. But what can I do to help us go to the next step? So while I was there, that was my whole focus. I mean, it was Final Four national championship. Like, we got to do it. We know we're going to be good in the regular season, but we got to make it happen in March. So, unfortunately, my senior year, the furthest we went, obviously, in school history, Elite Eight, it was a blessing. We still feel like, you know, we fell short of that goal. I know it still hurts me. Some of the guys we talk about to this day, you know, we think we could have won it that year. So. Yeah. I was able to accomplish some things personally, but collectively as a whole, you know, being ranked number one and all them great things, a lot of great things, man. We definitely won, but we still came short of the ultimate goal, which was the national championship. Yeah.
His nickname was the General. I mean, that's the nickname. You don't want your point guard to be the gunner.
Nah.
Right?
I want my point guard to be like Levan's.
It was a fun line with it, you know. I had guys that could score, so having a guy like Sam Young, it made me realize what I got to get 20 for. Yeah. If I get this guy to pull in the right spot, he's going to get 20 plus for me. You got to realize that.
Levance, I got to ask this since you bring that up. I had heard some stories that, you know, you would find out what your assist total was after a game, and you might mention to a player or two that I would have had more if you would have finished.
Yeah, I would. If I get you and you wide open, I'm going to let you know after the game, hey, buddy, you cost me one there. You cost me one. I mean, the guys were cool with it. They knew what came with it. Like, if I turn down the layup for this shot for you, you got to make it. Yeah. Next time I might look you off. Yeah. So it was good. It was all in fun. You know, them guys, once again, they helped me break the single season record for assists, so I'm thankful forever for them guys.
How did you like when you got here as a freshman, was the program at the time where, you know, the older guys kind of taught the culture, and then by the time you became an older guy, is that what you guys did?
Yeah, that was the formula. When I got there, Carl Krauser was a fifth-year senior. Obviously been around for some years. He was there with Brandon Knight. And, he's an older guy. I'm coming fresh out of high school, so this was the culture. You know, it was toughness, grittiness, you know, you got to earn everything you get, which I was accustomed to coming from where I'm from and being from New York. So I fit right in. And I just waited my time. You know, I learned as a young guy, but being the guy I am, and I'm going to lead by example, I was able to get in as a freshman. So I knew naturally once Carl left out, I would be able to, you know, take over as the point guard, and guys would respect me. So it was a natural, it was organic.
Yeah.
Lavance, here last night, Ryan Murphy hit a shot in the clutch. How much in those situations did you want the ball, and did you trust anyone else, or did you wanted that opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I passed the ball all game, so I feel like when the game on the line, why not? You know, I'm a real confident guy, so my teammates seen it throughout the practices. You know, it wasn't like I was a guy that would just do it in the game. I did these things in practice. You know, it would be game on the line, and I would make the winning bucket. I mean, I just love that moment. As kids growing up, who don't do the countdown, you know, 5, 4, 3, and, you know, hitting the buzzer beater or whatnot. And I was fortunate enough to be in them situations with my teammates, and they trusted me in the huddle, Coach Dixon, as well as the rest of the staff. And all my teammates always was fine with me having the ball and making the right play. They trusted me.
Well, you made a couple of big shots. One we want to discuss as we continue. Lamar Fields is joining us here on the Jeff Capel Show on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network.
McGowan pulls up and he hits it. X-Man jam.
McGowan's against the bigger trail with a lob to Champagne.
To Ryan Murphy for the three. Yes. Wow. And the place is on fire.
Down to 7 seconds. Fields for 3. Oh! Duke out of timeouts. Shire again. Oh, it would have counted. But Pittsburgh wins here in the Garden, 65-64. Lamonte Fields with the 3 to win it for the Panthers.
Jeff Hathorne with the head coach of the Panthers, Jeff Capel. We are joined on the phone by Lamonte Fields, and let's go back to it. It would have been December 2007, Madison Square Garden. Panthers and Duke, just what memories flood back, and how special of a game was that, not just for you, but for your team?
It's a great memory. It was a special night. I remember begging Coach Dixon and them the year before and previous, we got to play Duke. We got to play North Carolina. We got to play these schools. Like, I have to play against these guys. And we got Duke on the schedule for my junior season at Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, my home, New York. It was, like, special. Man, Brandon and Mike Cook, we worked so hard that summer to get in shape. Brandon Knight worked us out. He was assistant coach at the time, got us ready. And we go to overtime. It's a back-and-forth fight. We were sluggish at the beginning. We got our rhythm a little bit in the second half, started playing tougher, rebounding. DeWan had an outstanding game on the glass. Shane put the ball in the basket. Ronald made some timely shots. Keith got some good stats. Everybody kind of just contributed. And then the game was on the line, and we down 2. I remember being in the huddle and just, telling Brandon that I'm tired, that we ain't going to another overtime, to be honest. I said, I'm going for the win.
I'm a big believer, like, in those moments, like, you can't be afraid to take the shot. Like, you can't be afraid to miss it. Have you always been that way? Is that something that you grew into, or were you always, like, not afraid of that moment?
I think I grew into it for the most part. I mean, I can remember back to being in high school. I was a sophomore. No, I was a junior in high school. We're playing against St. Raymond. They're the best team in the city. Gavin Grant, he went to NC State. Brian Lang went to Seton Hall, so they had a couple pieces. Long story short, it's a great game. I hit a big three-pointer. We're down 3. I get a steal, and I have a chance to shoot the game, for a tie. And I didn't shoot it. I passed it to somebody. Long story short, we lose the game. I remember one of my close friends at the time talking about it, texting me just like, everybody was saying you got a little scared. And that always stuck with me, like, yeah, why? Like, I just hit a shot. Why would I not shoot it again? And I know I could make it.
Yeah, and I think, the really good players in that moment, like they aren't afraid of the result. Like you just said, I'm either going to miss it or make it, but I'm not afraid of the result. Like you welcome the result. And that's what I said last night after the game. For Ryan Murphy to take that shot, it takes guts to take that shot in that moment because the result is either going to be great or it's going to be really bad. But you have to always call it convenient amnesia. Like if you miss it, you have to be like, hey, something's wrong with the ball or something's wrong with the goal. It's not me. Yeah, you got to forget about it. You move on to the next play, and the really good ones do that. And I remember I was the head coach at Oklahoma at the time watching that game. It was right before Christmas when you guys played, and the Garden sounded absolutely electric in there, when you hit that shot and seeing the passion and seeing that. It was a big-time play.
All right, Lavance, because I know you guys still talk. Who had the better 3? You there or Ronald against West Virginia? And I also want to ask you, have you ever moved faster than you did from that bench to go hug Ronald?
See, that's tough, man. They always ask me that, man. Making the shot in the Garden at the time was unbelievable. But I'm being honest, man. They was talking about we was on a bubble. We might not make the NCAA tournament. I'm nervous. I'm hurt. I can't play. And we playing West Virginia. I believe they was ranked. So we needed that win. So I think Ronald's shot was bigger, man, because we was on the brinks at the time, and I don't know how the committee was going to act, even though we had injuries. So I was nervous, and that's why you see me sprinting so fast and excited, because I know how big that shot and that win was for us moving forward.
Lavance, your senior day, you were so banged up before that. How did you enable yourself to get out there, and what was that game like?
You got sources, man. How you know about that?
I'm not saying. I've heard some things.
We do our research, man. Come on, people talk about you here, man. You are a legend here. You are beloved.
Yeah, man. I was banged up, seriously. Like, couldn't move. I'm mad once again because it's like my last game at the Pitt, and you telling me I can't play? Like, how is this possible? So I got all these bad thoughts going through my mind, but I'm like, I'm going to play. I don't care if it's on one leg. I got to play. It's my last game here. So Tony Scalise, the great trainer, man, my guy, like always, he got me right. He calmed me down. And I don't know. I seen that crowd, and everybody had headbands, because first I think they had shirts for us. They had, like, something particular for every senior. And I seen, majority of the crowd with headbands. To me, that was it right there. I start jumping in the tunnel. Now my juices is flowing. I'm ready to go. It's like, forget everything else right now. In this UConn, I believe they was like top 3.
They were 1.
Top 3 battle between us, right? 1 and we was 3 or something like that.
Yeah, because it was the second time, you remember.
Game to go out.
Second time you'd beaten them when they were 1 that year.
Exactly. So I was like, I got to play this game.
All right, we're going to do one more quick segment with Lavance because I want to ask you about Xavier because I know you've been following this team. Plus, there's another kid from Brooklyn that's not too bad on this team. I want to ask you about him as well. We continue with Lamar Fields here on the Jeff Capel Show on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network.
They helped me a lot to just, mold me who I am.
Pitt just has it all.
Everyone is on their feet.
Hail to Pitt. We just witnessed history.
Pitt Beyond the Script, weekly on AT&T Sportsnet.
And we are back with Lamonte Fields joining us. And Lamonte, one other story before I ask you about X and what Justin Champagnie has done here. Is it true that you used to have like a preseason lineup of players, and when you would play that player, you would find the guy who on your team would be guarding him and say, they say he's better than you? Did you used to motivate guys like that?
Of course. You got to do whatever to get a competitive edge. So I always use whatever I could to fire my guys up in any way so they could be up to the task.
How did you and your team handle success? You know, you guys were obviously very successful as a team, you individually. How were you able to maintain that hunger even though you had success?
I think the biggest thing with us, once again, was the fact that we always was a good regular season team. So I always harped on that we got to play good in March. So we can never get too high or too low during the regular season. I know that's the build-up. You got to, lay the foundation during the season to be better for March. But I just felt like we always was there for the regular season. So it was always like we're never going to settle. I mean, of course we wanted to win. We'd rather win than lose. But I think we never got too high because we always expected to win. I would say, though, when we was ranked number 1, we weren't very excited because that was the first time in school history. So we celebrated it a little bit.
A couple quick comments, if I could. I know point guards follow point guards at a program. What are your thoughts on the way Xavier Johnson is fulfilling that role that you had and that it was handed down to you and so on and so forth?
He's a great talent. I was able to play against him 2 summers ago when we was getting ready for the TBT tournament. Very explosive, very energetic. I think it's obvious he's one of the better players in the conference. He just has to obviously get the touch from the outside. That's the next step for him, being a little bit more patient off the pick and roll, making better decisions. I think sometimes he gets turnovers for no reason, but that is also because of his athletic ability, and I know he believes he could do everything. But it's just little things like that to show up his game, but he's going to be able to get wherever he wants on the court. It's all about him making the right decision.
Lamonte, finally, how excited are you to have a Brooklyn kid here, and what are your thoughts on Justin Champagnie?
Very excited, man. It's always good to see a fellow Brooklyn native at school. So, and of course, he's from the Catholic League, same league I played in. So, it's expected of him to play well. He was one of the best players in the city. So, I mean, it's nothing new to him. It's good to see him having some good moments out there. Obviously against North Carolina, especially for the program, a sweep. I know they're saying they're not their best right now, but hey, anytime you can sweep them, it's always good. But Champagnie has been playing well. I think he needs to continue to get on the glass, use his size. These are things he'll continue to learn as a freshman. And of course, with that great head coach right there, Jeff Capel, and the message. I saw that message at halftime. What you told them guys, how it's right there. You gotta go get it. You gotta go get it. It's up to y'all, and they obviously went and got it the second half. So.
Well, Lamonte, it was great catching up.
Awesome, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Anytime. I appreciate it, and I definitely got to get out there soon.
Definitely.
Lamonte Fields, he may be the most valuable player on Pitt's team, and he won't play a second this year. We'll describe and let you meet who that is as we continue. Here it's Jeff Capel Show on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. He's a 6'3" transfer from Delaware, has to sit out this year. But that doesn't mean that Ithiel Horton is not valuable to what's going on here at the University of Pittsburgh basketball program. And, Jeff, I know he plays a key role in what you guys are doing to get ready for every game.
Huge role. First of all, we're really grateful and fortunate that he decided to join our program. We thought he'd be really good, and he's been better than expected. And I think he's gotten better from having an opportunity to play against our guys every day. And I know our guys have gotten better having a chance to play for him. He's in a really difficult situation sitting out, and that can be very, very hard. But I'm really proud of how he's handled it. I know it's been challenging, but I'll tell you what, man, every day in practice he shows up, he competes, and he gives our guys a great shot. Normally when we play, as we're preparing for a game, I should say, he is the best player from the other team, and he tries to emulate them. And I tell our guys all the time, if you can guard him, you can guard anyone, because I don't think you'll play against anyone better than him.
What has your mindset been, and how difficult has it been to work that hard in practice and knowing that the work you do may not transfer to yourself, but is transferring to your teammates?
Well, coming in, I had to change my mindset a lot. You know, coming into this year, I was like, oh my goodness, like I got to sit out the entire year. There's no way I'm going to get through this. But I went up to coach's office one day. I was just feeling out of the blue, out of sorts. You know, I didn't know what to do, who to talk to, and he pretty much told me to just trust the process. You know, take every day one day at a time. You know, you cannot rush this thing. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. Changing my mindset to that, and pretty much just learning every day.
How much better do you feel you've gotten over the last few weeks, the last few months?
A lot better from when I first came in. When I first came in, I wasn't really able to keep up with extra trade, you know, with speed-wise, and even with the game. You know, they were just so much bigger and stronger than I am. But just working with Coach G every day, listening to what the coaches tell me, and going against extra trade every day, I've gotten a lot better.
What did you like about Ithiel?
Well, you know, when I first heard about him, Tim O'Toole was the first one that brought him to my attention when he went into the transfer portal, and we were recruiting a kid that went to his high school, and so the coaches talked about him and spoke about him glowingly. And I remember Tim gave me clips from Synergy on him. I looked at his stats, and I was impressed by that. And I remember the first game of clips was from when they played Hofstra. And I'm watching these clips, and I went to Jason Richards, who had put them together, and I said, this kid, this is the kid that's leaving? I mean, I couldn't believe, honestly, and it's no disrespect, I couldn't believe it was a Delaware. And I'm watching it, and I was like, this is a no-brainer. If we can get, not if we can get him, we have to get him. And, you know, I also think because I coached in that league. When I was at VCU, VCU was in the CAA. And I had really good guards. And I knew some of the guards that I had, they could play in the ACC. And so for us, it was perfect because you were going to get this guy that could really shoot. He shot over 40% as a freshman. And that's a big-time thing, you know, from beyond the three. I thought he was better off the bounce. I thought he was a good athlete. He had a pop to him that just jumped off the screen. And then when I got to know him, we talked, and they came up. I thought he was a really good kid. And I just knew for us, I thought that he could be a difference maker. And so when I look at our class that we've signed, everyone talks about the three guys, and they should, Max, Noah, and Big John. But I think he's the one that is kind of not talked about, and he's in that class. And, you know, the new guys that we'll have next year, it's four guys, and I think they're all really high level, but he's going to be, I think, a really, really outstanding player right away. And I think his work ethic, how he's handled every day, I tell him all the time, like, this is, you know, everything happens for a reason. And as difficult as this is, what this shows you is how much you love the game, because you miss it, and you'll appreciate it even more when these games come next year. But he's treated every day like a game, and he's helped us so much. And in turn, most importantly, I think he's helped himself.
There's so many unsung people in the program, and it's good that we could talk to Ithiel.
Absolutely.
And let people know what he is doing behind the scenes. And I can imagine that you're dreaming of bursting out next year for that first game.
I am too.
I have no idea. You're right.
I am too.
You are too.
We walk through some things in practice. I go game speed and coach tells me.
Thanks to Lamonte Fields, Ithiel Horton joining us here. Jeff, good luck at Syracuse. You're listening to the Pitt Panthers Radio Network.